Welcome to the IoT podcast cybersecurity mini-series special. I'm your host, Harry Jones, embedded talent specialist at 5V Tech. Today I'm joined here by Rasadhi Attale, senior hardware engineer at Tessent Embedded, which are a Siemens Business. In the episode, we speak about the secure cab project developed by Siemens in testing and identifying vulnerabilities in modern cars. Also, we discuss the effects of ChatGPT on cybersecurity and the emergence of the zero trust framework. Hi Rasadhi, and welcome to the IoT podcast.
Hi Harry.
Pleasure to have you.
Thanks for having me.
So just to start off with really, would you just be able to tell us a little bit about your background, what work you're doing at the moment? Just give us a little bit of an overview.
So I'm a hardware verification engineer. I've been in the semiconductor industry since about 2015, so about 8 years now.
Sure.
And I first worked with ARM, and now I'm working with Siemens as part of their embedded analytics team. I'm also doing a part-time master's in cybersecurity at Oxford, which is where my security interest and security and IoT stuff comes through.
Cool. So is that going to be sort of focusing on like cybersecurity applications towards like sort of microchips stuff you'd be developing?
Exactly.
Sort of the hardware development world?
It is more on how to create more secure hardware. It's basically the interest that I'll be in, and trying to say with my security knowledge how I can help my team create more secure SoCs or like the IP that we designed. 2019, we won a project with Innovate UK, and that was us, Copper Horse, Coventry University, and University of Southampton. It was looking at prototyping a secure system to identify attacks on a car. So the hardware IP was given by us. So we have some components, some passive monitors, as well as some active components that can actually detect any kind of attacks happening on a car and block them. So that we provided the hardware IP, and then Copper Horse gave their security expertise, and Coventry University built the test bed for it. That's kind of where our security journey started as a company.
Fantastic. And then, earlier when we were speaking, sort of before we were filming this podcast, you mentioned a really interesting project you were doing to do with the connected cars as well.
Yes, yeah. So it started off in 2019. We won a research project with Innovate UK. So that was us, Copper Horse, and Coventry University to kind of prototype cyber security in autonomous cars. So it's called Secure Cab, and the expertise came from our hardware IP was used, and Copper Horse contributed their security expertise, and the Coventry University created the test rig that was used to prototype. And it's about identifying when an attack is happening in a car. So we've got a set of monitors that can monitor what's happening in a CAN bus. And some of our monitors will just be monitoring to see what's happening. And we've got some active components which can also prevent the attack from happening. And that was put into the testbed with algorithms that was created by Southampton University, and Copper Horse's security expertise and guidance was given. And that's kind of how a Secure Cab came into place. And we're continuing to work on it and develop it.
Cool. That is really, really interesting. And then so, is it most modern vehicles these days? So no, I've seen quite a lot of cars will have over the air software updates and stuff like that. So is that where the vulnerabilities really comes from?
Yeah. So modern vehicles, definitely. The industry itself is having more and more focus on how vulnerable their cars are, and they're focused on trying to identify where attacks are coming, what vulnerabilities, and how they can mitigate. I think we've seen a change from what was a couple of years ago with the industry, and that's helped too, because a modern car has a lot of electronic components and has a lot of software and has a fair amount of automation happening. It's very important to actually have cyber security in place to ensure, even if you never go into like a fully autonomous vehicle, even if you have like what the kind of automation we already have now, security is really crucial to have. Sorry, the Land Rover attack a couple of years ago. I know it was done or closed, but it was a remote attack. And I think that's one of the key thing. A remote attacker can still be able to attack a vehicle and take over or break for you or take control of your systems or your entertainment system and things like that. That is scary.
Definitely, yeah. Because I know even like the lowest levels of autonomy, that's like with the radar assisted braking. So if they can take control of that, it's going to be
Exactly.
your fault, isn't it?
Exactly. And I
Yeah.
think the danger is not someone actually having physical access to the vehicle or being near. It's about the fact that remote attacks are getting stronger and stronger, and attackers will always be ahead of the industry anyway. And we have to take action. We have to progress with the defense mechanisms as well.
Absolutely, sure. Okay, fantastic. So over say the last sort of year then in 2023, what may be some of the biggest innovations or lessons you've seen in sort of IoT and around the cybersecurity market this year?
Oh, that's a very good question.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree ChatGPT and the use
Yeah.
of AI has definitely been like one of the biggest things.
Mm.
A lot of deep fakes, a lot of concerns around security of using AI and how you can authenticate something that is actually generated by AI. So a lot of, as we've seen in the conference today, it's a lot of trend towards zero trust, which is basically you keep on authenticating on a regular basis. So you have mechanisms to auto-generate authentication keys, and you continue to ensure that who you're talking to is the same person
Yeah.
still. And things like that are quite key.
Obviously, coming from your hardware engineering background as well. So is AI being implemented at all in any of the sort of actual hardware design and stuff like that at the moment?
At the moment, no. Actually,
Okay,
from what we see mostly, it's on more of a software-based level.
sure.
I think AI hasn't quite caught up with hardware implementations, but it doesn't mean that it's not going to. It's
Mm,
but at the end of the day, we all write code, so it's not hard for it to be used in a hardware like mechanism. Because when you're creating an IP, whether it's software or hardware, it's code you write, it's simulations you do. Um, so the fact that it can come in, and of course it'll help. If it is there, then we can write code faster and be able to test the code much more with a lot more resources than an engineer doing it manually and writing different
sure.
test scenarios. So it'll help, but we've not seen that much of an impact of it on the hardware side. But then in my team, it's hardware and software goes hand in hand. So we write the
Yeah.
hardware, and we've got the software team who writes the software that goes with it. So we've seen the impact on the software team side.
Cool. Interesting. Fantastic. Cool. So yeah, so just following up from that then, what are some of the things you expect we might be able to see some new trends or maybe some new innovations, maybe in IoT or especially in hardware coming into 2024 and onwards?
So I think RISC-V is quite a hot trend, and I think it's going to continue into 2024 onwards, especially in the Cambridge area, and I think it's global as well.
Hmm.
There's lots of new companies looking at RISC-V components, creating RISC-V CPUs or systems based on RISC-V. Our team is involved in RISC-V as well. We contribute to some of the open source code. We support the RISC-V architecture. And I think that's going to really hit off. It's going to be a big player in the market.
Cool.
Another one that we've seen trends is data center monitoring, data center infrastructure monitoring.
Hmm.
Actually, they're wanting to have more smart monitoring in place. So that's going to be quite big in the IoT field next in 2024 onwards. And quantum computing. I think
Yeah.
everyone's talking about quantum computing. That's going to be quite a big one. And also, I mean, there's quite a lot of hope on quantum computing in a sense that it's going to help us solve a lot of problems that we have with engineering. But it's also going to, in a security wise, it's going to also bring us quite a lot of issues. A quantum computer can quite easily break a very strong encryption key.
Hmm.
What will take probably the current supercomputer about 30 years to break could be easily broken in less than, don't quote me on the stats, but less than 3 hours for a quantum computer to break because their processing power is that much stronger. But the benefit of it is we could get quantum-based cryptography. So
Yeah.
it goes hand in hand.
I suppose you have to combat it first and then wait for it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Just out of my interest then, really, what are some of the limitations sort of holding back the quantum computing at the moment? Is it?
The twofolds. I think one is mainly resources. They are struggling with because in the quantum computing industry, you just don't need people who knows physics or quantum based. They need all sorts of resource skills. Like they need hardware, software, electronics, mechanical, engineers. And there's a lot of barrier into it because I think a lot of people don't understand quantum computing companies need a variety of resources.
Sure.
And the other barrier is there is a lot of collaboration, but not enough collaboration in the industry right now. I think quantum computing companies are struggling to find out all the issues that they need to resolve. So they want to collaborate with other companies and find out the big issues that quantum computing can help. So
Cool.
those are the two things that are currently holding it back.
Fantastic. Thank you. Very insightful. So just to sort of finish off then, really. So we've already touched on a little bit about AI and some of the things it can play and like the root of trust, producing deep fakes stuff, but just sort of building on that a little bit then. So what are your thoughts sort of in general about the role artificial intelligence is going to play moving forward in sort of securing IoT devices and connected devices, really?
I think, like anything, it's going to be twofold.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to help, like AI, like machine learning based algorithms. If they're trained properly, they're going to actually help strengthen any kind of intrusion detection or anomaly detection systems. It's going to be easier and faster to detect those systems rather than traditional ones, and also things like ChatGPT might actually help to develop the code a lot faster, which means, you save an engineer's time in developing, and you can actually, like a ChatGPT generative system can't actually just generate the code on its own. An engineer has to give the parameters in, as said, in microchip presentation. So you need an engineer's input, and that can actually help an engineer to make sure, okay, is the code actually correct and verify it. And I think it's going to help. But then on the same hand, there's already a worm ChatGPT in the dark web that helps hackers to generate malicious code to attack. So like any other technology, I think it's going to go hand in hand, and we just have to be faster than the bad guys.
I guess so. Yeah, no, twofold again. Fantastic. Brilliant. So yeah, well, thank you very much for the podcast. So just for any of the listeners and viewers out there, where would they be able to sort of find yourself on social, such as LinkedIn, and see where you're working at the moment as well?
Yes, yeah. I work at Siemens at the moment, and I'm on LinkedIn. So yeah, anyone interested, they can find my profile on LinkedIn.
Fantastic. Brilliant.